is what it says. More wee wee. What's up, everyone? What is going on? Dave here with Affordable Door and Gate, representing somewhere here. Oh, I was just jumping on here. I was just seeing if this thing still works. Hopefully, we got audio. If you jump on here, let me know if the audio's okay. I don't know how long I got on here. I honestly just jumped on. I've been under the weather. I've been sick. Some of you guys have been asking me, texting me, emailing me, what's going on, Dave? And I got this infection going on right now. It's in the head. It's not bad, but it's just one of those annoying infections, drainage. You know what I'm saying? No, by the way, if you jump on here too, if you don't mind, hit the like button. I can't track you. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you are. I don't know if you're AI or what you are, but it just helps bring more people in. And we like more people because more people just brings more entertainment. More entertainment brings makes the world a party place, if you know what I mean. So let me just start off with I'm editing the video of the one for the opener, for the Chamberlain opener. And I didn't recognize that, or I did not realize that the opener, it's got the smaller photo eyes, got that. Didn't realize they don't click anymore. Now, I did get some wonderful comments from you guys, and you guys were saying some stuff about possibly a Genie / Chamberlain like lawsuit suit going on. And I remember hearing about the lawsuit. I didn't know what it was for, but correct me if I'm wrong. Genie's never flashed when you cross the photo eyes. So I didn't quite get that. And that could have been just a one-off type thing. It was just something I heard somebody say that's what they thought the lawsuit was about. And I thought, well, between Genie and Chamberlain about the clicking, the flashing, the blinking when you cross the photo eye. I should try to make that a little clearer. But I was really disappointed. I was super disappointed about that opener not blinking because that was my one caveat with the Chamberlain / Liftmaster that I always explain to the customer that I would always tell them, I'd say, look, if the opener's blinking, I said, there's only one thing that'll ever make that opener blink. And that would be the fact that the photo eye was messed up. And because I've had a lot of people with garbage cans. I've had people with rakes and brooms and cobwebs and leaves and you name it. It seems like cats, dogs that have hit those photo eyes. And that is typically a callback, and that always gets to be that weird fine line where excuse me, do you charge to come back out there and you got to go with the photo eye, or is it like this is kind of covered under warranty? You know what I mean? So that kind of, I don't know if I like that, because at least if somebody said it's blinking, I know it's on the photo eye now. It's got the light. And I think somebody commented about a error code possibly popping up on the display, but I don't think that thing had a digital display at all. Maybe the light would blink on or something. So I just don't know. I don't know what to think. I feel like that's kind of something out of the tool bag that I don't have anymore, for the blinking, where I could explain to the customer the only reason it'll blink is there's a photo eye issue. So what's Gallo? Is it Gallo? I'm gonna say Gallo. 4 up blinks and 6 down flashes. Is that on the openers? I'm not quite following along in that. I'm talking like when you get it all programmed, and so that's how to tell if the sensors are misaligned. Ooh, well, thanks for putting that. I'm just thinking when it was going down, like I said, if you'd cross the photo eye, at least this one didn't. The one from Menards, Chamberlain, it wouldn't blink. I crossed it, it just went back up. No blinky blinks out of the lights. Kind of upset me a little bit. I was like, am I supposed to explain to the customer that if the only reason this thing blinks Yes, they can look at the photo eye. But it was just a little disappointing. I was a little disappointed. I didn't like that change. I'm still not sure if I really like the whole mounting brackets. They feel cheesy to me for the photo eyes. Some of you guys were commenting saying that you can, I think you can twist them. I didn't play with them. I'm assuming if you can twist them apart, it's so you can mount them. Because what do we always have to break? We used to have to break the tabs off of them. And I forget why. If it was because we were mounting them to the wall, or what the reason was for it. Tony's in the house. What's up, Dave? What's up, Tony? How you been? What you been working on? I'm trying to get over this sickness, man. I finally got some basically some penicillin, so I'm trying to really attack it. Trying to drink that bleach water. Knock this. The problem is I got this cold thing I got. Whatever. It's messing with my sharpness, and I've had it for. Oh, I thought I had it licked over the weekend, and it kind of relapsed. So now it's like I'm just sick of it. It's almost going on a week now, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of this head cold stuff going. So it's time for some penicillin. Liftmaster guy says, I mean, I noticed with the 881 wall control with the timer to close, the hold button will flash if the eyes are blocked, but now Chamberlain only gives those wall controls with DIY jack shafts. Huh. That's weird. I tell you, it's like, I don't know. See, there was a time, this is my opinion, and honestly, you guys probably know more about it than I do, because you guys deal with the residential way more than I do anymore. But, Chamberlain Liftmaster, used to be all pretty much an even keel. You know what I mean? Like, you were like, oh, and it all started for me anyways. It all started when they started screwing with the wall, or not the wall, but the outside keypad. You remember when the outside keypad, you always used to hit your buttons and you hit enter, right? Or up or down, right? And that would enter it in and it click once. You do it again, it's all good to go. It was ready to rock and roll. And then they got away where they started pushing, like you had to push like a 0 and stuff like that. That started really screwing with me because like I'd go to customers' installs, they purchased something, and it was like, oh, this is not the same. And so then it was like, it's almost like they snuck in on you. You know what I mean? Where it was like it's saying in the box, if you're installing this, the keypad has a new update. So be aware. It was always like you go to do it, and the customer's standing there watching. And you're like, I've done this, I swear, 100 times. I don't know why this isn't working. Let me go back to the instructions. And so it's kind of like I can see this whole. I kind of get a little bit of feedback from you guys where it's like, oh no, there's certain ones blink and certain ones don't, and I'm thinking like that just threw me. And I was just like, I've never had one ever not blink. And I was just like, what is up with this? And to me, I was getting ready to explain to the customer that I was going to say, hey, if this thing blinks, there's only one thing that'll ever cause this thing to blink, and that's the photo eyes. That was always my sales pitch, not really a sales pitch, but Elite Door. Okay, so he says our warranty doesn't cover alignment issues. Good call. So many people would toss a shovel on the corner, knock it out of whack. He says as a text that's out of our control. I agree. And I'd kind of like to hear some of your guys' opinion on it because I don't know. Am I kind of the only one? I mean, like, Elite Door, it's like, yes, I totally agree with you. But it's like one of those things that if it's not filtered out, right, either through you or through your wife or through your secretary, right, that they've done all the exhausted options, that's where I go, that's kind of a fine line, right? Because to me, that can tick people off. And I guess that's why the blinking lights, I liked it because at least secretary, even secretary, my wife, I mean, everybody basically in the garage door community always knows if the lights are blinking, oh, it's photo eyes. You know what I mean? And I mean, I've had people even on the phone and I've heard them push the button. I can hear in the background. I can hear it even when they don't have good light bulbs in them, right? I can hear the clicking, click, 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 click. I'm like, is that opener clicking? And they're like, yeah. They're like, but it's not blinking. And I'm like, well, that's because you haven't changed light bulbs. But I'm like, it's clicking, right? Yeah, it's clicking. Okay, well, here's what it is. You know what I mean? And you spell it all out for them. This is, if we come out, this is going to be a service call. So I don't know if you want to try to, fix it, but it's just a bummer because sometimes, when you're in the meat and potatoes of things, at least when I was, and I had a million jobs going, you know what I mean? And it was like, you just be like, the door you installed yesterday, you installed this for Aunt Granny, whatever. And it's like, yeah, well, her door's not closing and she's upset. She's got a Cadillac in the garage, and you're like, oh, whatever, fine, screw it, and then you get there and it's like, luckily maybe it's on the job way to another job or something, but it's still taking time. And you're like, oh, like it's just this. And you're like, I really should charge for this, but I'm not even gonna write the invoice out. It's just too much hassle. So that's just kind of a little bit of a bummer. In the video that I'm editing actually for you guys, I said something about the photo eyes and the sun, and I failed to mention that I figure, Chamberlain, maybe you guys can let me know if you experienced this. Chamberlain never seemed to have so much of a sun issue. I had one where it was definitely having issues, but the Genie's photo eyes seem to have more sun issues than I did ever with a Chamberlain, thankfully. But I just didn't know if you guys ever experienced a lot of the sun issues, or maybe these new photo eyes are more sensitive, or maybe they're just better for sun applications. I always just try to keep it a rule of thumb, a certain direction for certain stuff because of the sun. So I just didn't know if you guys are having any problems with the Chamberlain with a sunbeam interfering, like the old Genies. The Genies are a problem sometimes. And oh, by the way, I'm here. So if you're just starting out, you guys are coming in. Oh, please also don't forget to hit the like button. Um, you guys are more welcome to ask any questions off topic. We don't have to stay on topic about anything. I'm here. I got my snotty nose. I apologize, but I had a few minutes. It was quiet. I wanted to jump on and say hello, that I'm still alive. I'm doing boring stuff at the moment. I'm doing some fencing. What are you guys doing? Let me know what you guys are working on. What kind of doors you're working on? You working on fence, gates? You working on sewer? You working on roofing? You working on microwaves? Let me know in the comments. Like I said, I'm always curious to know. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh, Elite, what's the guy? He says if oh, nice. I jumped down to Tony here. He says, put new shop together. Sweet. If you'll also notice on the Chamberlain ops, the light doesn't come on when you walk through the beam anymore either. Really? Well, that's very interesting. Huh. I really appreciate you sharing that. Um, I what do you guys think about that? I remember it was you guys ever notice sometimes, like when you're when you're out hustling, man, when you're out making money, and and then there's like things behind the scenes that are changing products. You know what I mean? Like, how many times do we install openers nowadays, especially when you're a seasoned vet, that you're reading instructions all the time, right? No, you just, oh, it's another Chamberlain. Okay. I know how this thing runs and sounds and performs and acts and stuff, right? Well, I remember when they started doing the beam, right, walking through, and it would turn the light on. And I remember I wasn't used to that. So I started getting customers calling me, and they'd be like, we got a problem with this garage door opener. I'm like, oh, okay, what's going on? And they're like the light never shuts off, and my electric bill is going to be really high. I'm just like, oh. So I had to read the instructions to figure out how to turn them off, and then that would be another thing now I have to add to my list, right? That's just another thing to add to if you have employees, to explain to them all that, hey, you guys need to ask this. You know what I mean? This the 10 minutes, your first 10 minutes there is very important. Your last 10 minutes is very important. So you need to ask these questions and make sure they want it or don't want it. And some models have it, some models don't have it. And some models you have to hold the button or touch wires together and make it no so it won't do it. I love it. I love it. What's Mr. Liftmaster guy got? He says, trying to get my business Facebook page. He said, I'm not quite sure what I should be putting on there for post. Ooh, that's a good question. I know Facebook's a little goofy. I know just with other businesses, it's kind of a pain to get it going sometimes. They want you to use like a certain computer and verify it's you, blah, blah, blah. Stuff can be a little glitchy. But I don't think it hurts that if you're going to any jobs, the thing is with a lot of this stuff, I think you're gonna post things, right, that nobody will ever comment on or say good job or whatever, especially when you're starting out, right? There's just not that much, but what you're trying to do is you got to get it where you post things and make sure they're all clean and legit, and you're not on there whatever doing a short video or something cussing and swearing and whatever, just saying, hey, the customer was very nice to us to let us install their opener today. We got her looking good for them, a few snapshots here and there, a little meme or whatever, a little text in there. But that consistency, what I've seemed to found with customers is that, for instance, I got tree work that has to be done at a rental, right? And the guy that I normally use does a pretty decent job, but he's up there in age. He does a good job, right? But he's kind of pricey. He's kind of pricey. Like every time he tells me a price, I'm kind of always like, oh, really? Like that much? That much, man. And there's a new kid in town, right? And this is kind of how it works, right? He's posting things. There's things. He's got the bandit signs at the corners on light poles and everything. He's hungry. So I'm like, maybe I can kind of work on his naiveness and youngness in a sense, which I was there too. People used me, no doubt. And he's going to come in. He's going to be, half the price, possibly, right? And obviously, I'm not going to put him on something where it's like over a house, and I'd be like, yeah, you're not qualified for this. Possibly, it's a very simple job. So, but what I'm getting at is that more consistency. You know what I mean? Like you don't know when that's going to hit, right? You don't know when it's going to hit on Facebook, Craigslist, Nextdoor, Google. So just start posting. You know what I mean? In a sense, just start out slow, add stuff as you go. I don't know what you call it. I call it blowback. You'll get blowback. You'll start realizing that people are like, oh my gosh, people really like this stuff. People really don't really like this stuff. You know what I mean? Wow, people really I got a lot of feedback on this one. So biggest thing is just start. Just do it. Do it. Lights, putties, building racks, moving stuff in, etc. Nice. Man, it's hot too, Tony. Muggy. But at least you're home. Or at least at the shop. Where you got a little relief. Rolling steel business is picking up in North Alabama. Nice. Nice. Man, I think of down south like Florida, and I think with all that humidity, oh man, it's toasty out there lately. What's the lead guy? He says real talk. He says, had a lady complain about the light thing because her old one did it, but the new one didn't. Ooh. That kind of reminds me of the time I did one, and I it was a job through Lowe's. I was too far away, and I remember I installed another Chamberlain product, I believe, for this customer. I took out like it was a Chamberlain. It might have been a Craftsman. I remember I took it out, and the guy was like, and that was when, from the way I understand it, don't quote me on this, but Homelight Homelink and the car manufacturers were the lobbyists weren't working in the favor, the monopoly, the mafia. It wasn't working. You weren't paying us no money. We're not going to give you what you want. Well, anyways, that's when I realized they did something right. These things weren't communicating. You had to buy those repeaters. Anybody remember those days? I had to buy the repeaters. So I install this opener. I'm all just, raring to go. I got jobs I got to go to. I got 5 more jobs I got to do. And this guy's like, can you program this opener remote to my car? I'm like, sure. Yes, sir. You got it, sir. And I'm trying to program this thing. I'm trying to program it. And this thing's just not working. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, we got a very generic opener. I'm like, it's a Chamberlain. I'm like, we got a very generic General Motors product here. What the flipjack is going on? Like, so finally I'm like, put on the old earpiece, Bluetooth, right? I call up tech support, whatever. They're like, oh, hi. You're going to need a repeater. And I'm like, a repeater? What? Like, yeah, you're going to have to get a repeater. Well, and the thing is, like, some of the stuff we never learn, right, is those repeaters you got to plug into an outlet. Is there an outlet available? Is it close enough to the opener? Blah, 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 blah. So I go back and I tell the guy, I'm like, yeah, we got to get like a repeater. And I mean, this guy, his look, and this was a big dude, this big, like military dude, he looked at me and he's like, you mean to tell me my old opener would do it, but this new one won't? Yeah. I mean, he just snatched like the remote. He's like, forget it. And I told him, I was like, it's like $10 if you order it. They'll give you free shipping. It's $40 if I open it or order it. And all I kept thinking was like, I'll be damned if I got to come back down here. I was like, I'm not making no money if I got to come back down here. That's my cost, buddy, for $40. And he just forget it. He says, I'll just use the remote. And I'm like, oh, but he wasn't happy. And it could have cost us a bad Google review. So thanks, Chamberlain. Liftmaster goes, he says, I never liked the beam light feature. I would always turn it off if there was a multi-function wall button. Ooh, that's good. That's good. See, it was weird. Like I really only kind of remember one time, because I always kind of agreed, like the walk-through beam, which would click the light on. It was always like, yeah, because I get some. I mean, I just had random people. They just call me on a Saturday or whatever, and they're like, "This light won't shut off," And I'm like, well, "What are you doing?" They're like, "Well, working in the garden with a wheelbarrow." And I'm like, "That's why you're going in and out. It's never going to shut off with all that much action." But there was one time, just this one time I remember, and it was a lady, and she liked to get up in the morning and she liked walking her dog, right? And she was in that perfect like subdivision, safe place. And she was like, I really like that feature, because when we come back from our walk, because they leave their garage door open too, it clicks on for us. And I thought, wow, now that is a nice feature, right? Like that's, oh, wow. Good job, Lift Master Chamberlain. Like I could see where that was a nice feature. You know what I mean? But I'd have to agree. Most of the time, I'm not saying I always did it, but I would definitely, like, it just kind of went off the customer. Like it was like, this customer is going to be confused. I'm not even going to offer this to them. It was like, I just disabled it. But it just got quirky there, because there's just certain times you get certain models, especially when you're bouncing between the cheaper and kind of a medium to a more expensive model. It's like, does this one have it? This one doesn't have it. Wait, this one does have it still. It does have it, even though it's a doorbell button. How does it have it with a doorbell button? How are you supposed to do that? Well, you got to like hold the button down so long and it would do stuff. It was just, sometimes they do that. And it was like, can we just leave the darn thing alone, please? Can we just leave so it works? Goes up and down. It just, the normal features. Hey, clicky click. I still really don't have a good reason though. I haven't really heard anything from any of you guys from the feedback. Let me just check my comments one more time. That anybody said though, really kind of a solid reason why they got rid of the blinky blink on the photo eyes, or on the opener head. That's just a bummer. Let me just check, make sure. No, I don't think there's no updates on it. 10,000. So let me see here. I was going to read the one. Somebody said something about the MC models. They believed. And for some reason, I prefer having. Oh, it bounced on me. Tony sent me a text. We're talking about the photo eyes and the blinky blink. He got me onto the blinky blink, and he says because like you said, it cost a quarter more to build it. You know what I mean? So that was my theory. I thought, oh, probably because the relay inside the clicky click, right? They could save a quarter per opener, so that's why they got rid of it. Now it's on the photo eye. Because like I said, when I heard the thing about with between Genie and Liftmaster, that kind of made me think, and I thought I can't remember any genies blinking when you cross the photo eye. So I don't even know if anybody knows what genies, not too long ago, I guess maybe 3 years ago or so, because I do remember hearing word of it that Genie and Liftmaster was some kind of lawsuit or something. Somebody was suing somebody or something. I don't know what it was about. I can't remember. And for some reason, I prefer having the motion sensor. The motion sensor. Yeah, I think Liftmaster guy's on to something with that because I actually at my very first house, I had a motion and I kind of liked it because when I walked out there, that was nice. And you didn't have to turn the light on and deal with the switch. You just walk out there because we always typically have an outside fridge, for overflow or whatever, or outside freezer. And that was nice. Throw on some flip flops, whatever. You walk out there, light would turn on for you, the overhead light. So yeah, I would agree. The motion is pretty nice. The motion one. And I like the fact that you can just put a piece of tape over or something if you need to block it. Pretty simple. I'm sure you can turn it off. I don't know. Ooh. I think it had something to do with lawsuit with overhead door. Gotcha. So Elite Dory says, my guess would be, he says Chamberlain has lost their mind, just like changing all commercial ops to DC. Yeah, I couldn't even believe it, honestly. Like I said, it's weird. Some little things, to me, like when I grabbed those photo eyes, I was like, what a pile of poo poo. You know what I mean? They were so small, they didn't fit in my hand, and I'm just so used to, it's like holding a hamburger from a hot dog, right? And you got a hamburger in your hand. Somebody goes, "It's a hot dog." I go, "No, it's not. It doesn't feel the same." You know what I mean? It doesn't taste the same. It doesn't look the same. It's not a hot dog. No, it is. It's like holding a little hamburger, right? And I'm just kind of like fumbling with it. And then I'm so used to always sticking the carriage bolt in it, and then I push it in the cradle and I tighten her down and all that. And now I got this long screw, and it's like how it's like one of those things you look at and you just go, why? And you feel like you look at it and you just go, I don't know if this is better for mankind. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't know. I haven't had enough time to evaluate this. It's kind of like when they did the J bar, when they made them stamped instead of a solid piece. Have they been problematic? No, but they were a little bit more clumsy when you had to put your nuts and bolts together on the J arm. You got to kind of flip your bolts the right way, which is not the end of the world. But it was always like, did they do this to benefit me or is this to benefit them? That's what it always feels like. So it was just one of those things, right? And then the photo eye bracket, I just didn't feel as confident in it when I clipped it on. I was like, I kind of did like almost like a second or third wiggle to it. And I was like, are you okay? Are you really going to stay there? You're not going to just pop off randomly, are you? Because I don't need that in my life. And you guys don't need that in your life. Nobody needs that in their life. So it says, yeah, I know the commercial operators to DC. I don't think I don't know, the DCs, man, that really scares me. I think those could be very problematic. I really do, especially for northern boys. I don't think I'd want to put one far away from home. That's for sure. Callow says definitely don't miss those Lowe's customers. I'm almost like curious, like it'd be cool to find somebody in the group that does Lowe's because I'd like to have an updated price list. Because it was like I don't know, 5 or 10 years later, they asked us to join, and of course they're kind of douchebags, and so they asked us to join, uh, like 3 cities over. And it's like, nah, it's like we're gonna start locally if we wanted to ever do that again. We're not starting 3 cities over. And I think they had sent us like an updated price, and it was like it went up like $5 or $10 for like I feel like I remember on like the openers, and I was like, "Ooh, we got a big raise!" Ooh, you know. And I still remember the guy that was installing them, and he'd come every morning. He'd take angle iron out of the shop, and I'm like, "Please, please use that so sparingly. Just use the angle that's in the box." And he's like, "You ever use that angle in the box?" I'm like, I know, it's junk. I know it's like used to like floss your teeth." And he's like, exactly. He's like, "You really want me to install that?" I'm like, "Not kind of. Yes, we have to make $1." Uh says it always to benefit their wallet. It must be. Are you talking about Chamberlain there? Eric's here. Cool. What's up, Eric? Freeze. Hello, Dave. I've been up since 4:30 a.m. and I'm just beat. Dang, dude. I tell you, I can feel for you a little bit. My sleep has gotten better the last 2 nights, so the rest of the nights were so far off. It was not even funny. It's this, like I said, this little bit of sickness has really kind of wiped me out, especially this time of year. Normally I don't get sick this time of year. It's kind of weird. So you gotta make sure you go to bed early tonight. Take a sleepy pill. Bum, 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 bum. Kevin he says they want you to hook to my queue. Oh, diagnose. He says all error alerts sent to your phone. Then you can connect with your local dealer through app. I'm glad Kevin brought that up. I can see kind of a sneaky tactic starting to happen here. Oh, I'm on. I can see what's going to start happening with this. Subscription base. Oh yeah, more money. Yep. Says, well, Mr. Elite Door says we started using the nice. I can't ever say it. Moranis commercial openers. Nice has a light commercial jackshaft model called the Soon Pro. Ooh, okay, so it's a light commercial. Okay, compatible to the 8500W. Nice. I'm just waiting for them to start handing out John Deere hats when they sell those openers. That's all. The colors, man. The colors. What I really, really, really want is I got a couple, but they were kind of separate. I still want that commercial opener that's a direct couple commercial, like the RSX overhead. That's what I want. I want. I just don't want the price of the overhead. Too much. Too much. Says the Soon Pro has been a big hit for us. Nice. That's awesome. It's kind of nice to see somebody have a little more competition on it too, honestly. You know what I mean? Because it's always been Liftmaster and Genie. Just saying, they need a little competition gnawing at them, straighten them up a little bit. Do you think about the Liftmaster camera, keyless entry keypad? I'm getting stuff on my phone that's promoted me to their. It looks like their outside keypad must have a camera on it, kind of like a ring. Sounds like they're probably going down that. I haven't investigated it much, so I guess if you guys come across like any, if you do an install, do a clip, or email me or text me or whatever. Give me some feedback on what you guys think of it, because uh, I really try to stay out of that stuff. I, I'm always kind of like, I'm not IT, I'm mechanical, just because I don't want the customer to get one iota of calling me going, I'm at the airport right now and my phone's not linking up. Can you tell me why? And I'm like, nope. That, because the Wi-Fi at the airport's not working or something like that. Um, and maybe it'll be a business for somebody down the road. Like a branch off your business, or you have your, a certain IT guy that you use in the area. I don't know. I don't know if it's just going to be more headache. And it is interesting, just like what Kevin said though, about they want you to get hooked up to the MyQ, and then they do a diagnosing, and then get you set up, with like a dealer. I don't know what to think about that yet. I really don't. I'm still simmering on that. That's interesting, because I know everything is becoming a subscription. That's what they're trying. You know what I mean? It looks like they got pushback, right? With some of those car manufacturers, and BMW, one of them that was doing it, where like if you wanted to use your heated seats, you got to pay a premium or pay a subscription or something. People are like, "What? I'm paying 40, 80, $120,000 for a car, and that's an add-on for me to use my heated seats, go fly a kite." Dun, 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 dun. What's Lift Master guy? He's got. I just learned today that Chamberlain sued Ryobi for some reason, and that's why Ryobi quit making openers. Ooh, at least Chamberlain has done something right recently. I want to add to that a little bit, because I looked at the Ryobi. I don't know why. I think it was more for like an entertainment purpose. And I thought, oh, yeah, well, maybe even for my own personal house. I was like, I'm not installing these for a customer. I thought it's got a radio. It's got way too many features, right? But I was just watching a guy, which I thought was kind of interesting. He does tools, and he was basically saying, isn't it Ryobi is made by like Black and Decker? So it's really kind of like up there with the Walt. And I was just always kind of thinking to myself, like, I've had some Ryobi stuff, and trust me, they're not premium by any means, but they get the job done. I think I had electric mower. I had some kind of trimmer. I give them creativeness, and I expect them to almost fail for the price point, and that's why I can kind of live with it. It's kind of like the Harbor Freight. Like we know when we go to Harbor Freight, but the price point's right, and it's kind of a throwaway. But that's interesting. So I'm really glad you shared that. That's very interesting. I would have had no idea. I figured they just gave up because, too many problems. The radio quit working. People are calling, complaining. They had to update it, change it. Elise Chamberlain. Let's see here. It's the Soon Pro DC. Ooh, Eric's asking. Probably. My guess, they're not sticking no big old AC motor in that jack shaft residential opener / light commercial. Oh, Tanner's in the house. Oh, snap. Watch out. Watch out for the rolling coal. What's up, guys? Long time no talk. Good night to go live. That's right. Says Tony's got, Liftmaster wants to get their hands on my profits on their service, and that is, ooh. Tony says, what's up? He says, how's it going, Tanner? Yes, the Soon Pro is DC. Okay. Spec she says it'll run an 18x14. Wow. Nice. That'll move a pretty decent door. Free Eric Scott. He's got garage door guys are going to need a degree. Yeah. With a computer science for working on the garage door openers. I would agree. It's a little bit it's almost kind of getting a little bit ridiculous in my opinion. Um it just bums me out that we can't really kind of just have a real basic opener. You know what I mean? Like, can we just have a basic opener? Like, can we have the vehicle that just has crank windows and it's a manual? Like, I need something basic where it's like this stuff kind of gets sunset, and then everything gets upgraded, and it's kind of like it's almost getting to be too much. And then the customer's kind of expecting, like and like I said, it might be good business for somebody if they're willing. The problem I see, you guys can let me know if I'm off on this, but the problem I see is most time when we're in business, right? We're allotting so much time to deal with something, right? Okay, we're doing a door and an opener 3/4 of the day. By the time I got clean up, load up, we go to the job site, it's whatever, 20, 30, 45 minutes away. All right, it's gonna be pretty much a day. You know what I mean? It's gonna be toast. But when you start adding this stuff in there, where then you're like, okay, like who do I call? Spectrum, and these places are horrible. So it's like if you don't know it, just in your brain to call these places and try to get service is just going to be horrendous. You'll spend so much time that you'll never get paid for. You know what I mean? Like you'll never be able to add enough time to it where it's like you're better off telling Mrs. Jones, say, look, you got a son or something or a grandkid, have them come over and play with it, and let them deal with tech support and all that because it's just there's just for the amount of money that you should be paid. I just don't think it's going to be there. They're going to expect it for free. And it might change. Zinc Ryobi is actually Milwaukee. You know what? Elite, you might be right with that. I was just watching a video about it, and it was like DeWalt or Milwaukee. You might be right. I think you're right with that. And I was like, I just kind of was like, well, see, I mean, I guess what I get at is a lot of times if guys are starting out, whatever, I was watching how Milwaukee was, kind of the top dog, and then DeWalt took over. And it's just one of those things. Like I look at it and I go, I tell you what, it's better than using hand tools. So if you got Ryobi, you got Milwaukee, you got DeWalt, you got whatever works good for you, do it. You know what I mean? To me, I don't care what I drive. I don't care what I use. It's just whatever gets me the least amount of callbacks, whatever does the job for me and it's not in the shop or broke down or cost me a ton of money. That's what I'm always looking for. You know what I mean? Because the stuff changes all the time. You can't keep up. It's just, you know, they might start changing something. You're like, man, why are these things burning up? They've always been good. It's kind of like gear wrench, right? I used to be a big gear wrench guy. I bought like 2 packs of them, and both of them blew up on me like the first time using it. I mean, the whole gear and everything dropped right out of it. I'm like, what the fudge? I'm like, this ain't no good. And especially, you know how it is. You got sweat dripping down. You're up in a hot roof of a, building. This is what's Tanner says. Oh, pretty good. He says just a couple busy weeks by another garage door company in a few weeks, but have been going to lots of meetings, getting all set up. Ooh, he says, and installing around. The bubble has the bubble has popped. Oh, nice, nice. Just remember, Tanner. Just remember, when 40 comes, things change. Does it come with employees? Because that's your biggest thing. You can buy all the stuff, but if you don't have the employees, man, it's tough. And good employees. That's one thing I got. That's why I always call it getting neutered. You know what I mean? Because you can buy all this stuff, and this is just in general for people. You can buy the bigger and fancier and tools and trucks, but if you got nobody to operate them, and they're not good people that'll take care of it, they don't abuse it, that aren't wasting time on the clock. I mean, there's just so many things that factor into it that it's tough. It's tough. But if they got, and then it's spending like it's kind of like me for like if we were to open up another location, you got to get like like a good manager. I mean, you're almost better off doing like a franchise, um, in my opinion. Let me know what you think. Do, 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 do. You'll catch the Milwaukee rep setting up the Ryobi displays at Home Depot. Ooh, I'll keep an eye out for that. That's good info right there. Says, Admire really busy. He says, and broke my thumb Thursday. So, oh man, sorry to hear that, Tanner. Dang, man. Got to be careful. Got to be careful. Like I said, I don't know what it is. I'd always like to have a kind of a conversation about it, about that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain it. I used to run so ragged, so ragged. I mean, it was like 14, 16-hour days. And it's almost like you kind of look at it and you're like, You know how it is? Like they always say, there's only so much time in the day. Um, but if you, I always like that saying, right? It's better to make 10% of somebody else's work than 100% of your own. So it's always something, but it's really, really getting tough because the whole society is being programmed. I know so many people that have worked for me in the past that couldn't even start a weed whacker, that couldn't even start a cutting tool, a chainsaw. I mean, it's like, and then when you think about it, what was it? I think it said like back in 1950, 90% of people are on farms. You know what I mean? So think about how many people are around families that worked on tractors and all this stuff. And nowadays, there's just not so much of that. They don't see that. So electric can be your friend for that. Sometimes electric tools. Eric's guy. He says, I run Ryobi tools. He says, I got the old blue ones. Dang, I didn't know they made blue ones. Wow. You have to send me, Eric, you have to send me sometime a picture of the blue ones. I mean, when I think of blue, I think of cobalt. That's all I can think of blue. Ryobi's always been green. Says I got newer batteries and charger. Says what is nice is that they are backwards compatible. Nice. Liftmaster guy. What's he got? He says at least openers don't need software updates. Ooh, not yet. He says the old Kia spent the day in the shop because my engine needs a software update. Oh my gosh. What? My check engine light was on and wouldn't accelerate properly. That is just insane. I'm telling you, I'm gonna buy me an old 350 Chevy. I think I try to always think about which ones had the. I think 4L60s are okay for transmissions. They all wear out eventually. It seems like the motors will last longer than the transmission will. But at least it's something you can kind of work on. You know what I mean? Like some of that stuff is just getting goofy, man. Goofy. I can't believe, the thing is we're paying double to triple the price for this stuff. It's like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like a freaking idiot if I do that kind of stuff. I just kind of look at it and I go, huh? How can it be so much? Tanner's guy, he says, the funny thing is, he says, Chamberlain / Liftmaster got sued last year or year before from another opener company from stealing an idea and using it. Not really funny, just info, I guess. I love Liftmaster guy. Yeah, I don't know exactly. I haven't followed any of the lawsuits. I hear about them for some reason. I don't know if it's like I get them through the grapevines through you guys, or if it was like I seen like an email or a post or something. But I know it's getting nutty out there with this stuff. It says if I have the materials, Eric Scott, he says if I have the materials and money, I'd make a good opener. He says I need mechanical limits and a V-belt. Yes, that is very true. That is very true. I have a weird feeling though. I take me with a grain of salt. I'm not always the best speaker, but I honestly believe I'm believing more and more as I get older that everything, and I mean darn near everything, is controlled by the government. Money of some sort. Like I didn't even realize that churches get, they get subsidies, they get tax advantages, right? And I don't know exactly how it works. I'm not no expert in it, but that if they might start preaching a certain wrong way, they might lose that exemption or whatever it is that they have. And I always remember when I was a young lad and we'd always go down for breakfast at a place called Mr. Quick's around here. We always had breakfast, me and my business partner, maybe one other guy. I always bought everybody breakfast in the morning before we went out and worked. We get in early, go down and eat and stuff. And I always remember the church across the street, right from that place. And I said, geez, Louise, I said, I just can't believe, I said, how can that building, I said, sit, empty all week, and only open one day, basically Sunday, and I said, to make the money, I mean, nice place, big building. And I've gone to different churches, and we love our churches, right? And I'm kind of an old school. I could literally go under an oak tree and I'd be just fine. I mean, if somebody wants to preach to me. Um, but I went to another one too, even it was fancier yet, and it's funny how they were, donate, 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 really heavy on the donate. And so, something I was just thinking about the other day was kind of like these vehicles. You ever notice, like, I heard somebody one time say, well, that went to the 6.0, right? The 6.0 Power Stroke. And I was like, oh. They said, well, Chevy had the 6.6 or six, the Duramax. And I'm like, oh, so they wanted them to be like, like they had the 6.6, we got a 6.0, you know what I mean? And it is weird. Have you noticed these car manufacturers, and everything, like everything kind of moves together. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody just goes, screw that. We're not doing that. When we all damn well know that it would be the right move to make and make our lives as technicians and service people and everything else a lot better, right? But like everybody's going to 4-cylinder turbos, right? Or 6-cylinder turbos. Somebody's controlling that. I mean, these manufacturers know that there's a more reliable, but it's all controlled, like EPA. So I think the openers get to a certain, they get so big, and it's almost like they have to get the blessings of somebody. I don't know exactly how, and say like, hey, we can, otherwise you don't even exist. What's Eric got? He said, I recently heard that Genie is doing the thing where if you cross the sensors, the light is turned on and Chamberlain is getting rid of it. Phew, that wouldn't surprise me. That would not surprise me. It seems like one takes up, one falls off. I just wish they'd have it kind of, like I said, I always remember what bit me, I always remember what really grind me about LiftMaster. And it was the LiftMaster, the old school ATS. And I was a big ATS guy because at the very end, I was putting 7-foot rails on them. I was putting 8-foot rails on them. They were the last opener that had mechanical limits that I could program off a generator, dirty generator too, not an inverter, just a dirty, cheap generator that I would do for my Amish customers way back out on the sticks. I mean, we're talking, an hour and 45-minute drive one way, and go back in a 2-track 10 miles. No concrete, no nothing. Just we need the doors installed. They got concrete being poured. We got electrical. We're back in the boonies. They're stealing batteries out of skid loaders and tractors, and we need the garage doors up. When we get out there and we do all that, right? And I've called LiftMaster before, and they'd be like, "Oh, you can't program them off a generator." And I'm like, "Okay, what am I supposed to do?" And when they got rid of that, that really, like, I thought, man, you just took away my last viable option where I at least trust this. And then as some years went on, right, I started doing the ones that had the circuit boards in them, and I'd come across like horse owners. And one guy, I remember the doors I got there, he had two of them, and I'm like, why are the doors? One's partially up, and he's like, they don't work anymore. And I'm like, what do you mean they don't work anymore? And he's like, well, and then finally I have to sit there and scratch my head and go, gee, what the hell's going on here? And so I finally, I said, are you shutting the power off? He goes, well, yeah. He goes, sometimes I do. He goes, I don't want to walk out to the barn. He says, I flipped the breaker. Well, why not? Right. I mean, he's got horses out there and a few lights. I mean, why not just flip the breakers? And well, that was screwing them up. They were losing their limits. I'm like, oh, you can't do that no more. Like, you got to leave the power on to these all the time. So that was just a bummer. That was a bummer. Liftmaster guys says Eric Fries has been gone on Chamberlain side for a few years. Oh, good to know. That's crazy. I tell you what, man. Sometimes the stuff just keeps changing, and I don't know what to think of it. But anywho, like I said, if you guys got any more questions or anything you want to bring up, anything, go for it. I'll stay on here for a few more minutes. Otherwise, I'll probably hop off and see if I can find anything for dinner. You know what I'm saying? See if anything's going on. How you guys doing with the heat? Anybody? I know Rich. I don't think Rich is on here tonight. I forgot to send out the Batman signal. He's gonna kill me. And I just told the wife, but of course she forgot to order. I got a cap coming. It's supposed to be like a cool cap. Not like cool, make me look cool, because there ain't nothing that's gonna make me look cool anymore. I'm pretty old. But it's supposed to absorb the sweat because man, I start dripping. And it's weird. I never used to be like that. I used to watch another guy when I was younger that he was just like, man, I start dripping, man. I just start going. I mean, it would just pour it off him. And now I'm the guy that does it where it's like it starts raining, baby. It just starts coming down. I got to bring the old sweat rag. It's like, holy cow, man. It just starts dripping off you. What's Freeze got? He says, the first thing I did this morning was reprogram limits on a LiftMaster 8361. Huh. Ooh, Eric's guy. He says, I got air conditioning in my garage. I tell you what, I caught it at the nick of time. I got a couple vehicles, older ones, and I got the AC fixed before it got super duper hot. And I can't tell you how much I am super enjoying the AC in the vehicles because believe it or not, and I know I'm not a very old buck here, but man, I tell you what, bring yourself a change of shirt and bring a sweat rag. And when you get done with a job that you just worked your hiney off on and you're drenched, there's nothing more fun, right? When you get in the service vehicle or whatever, your vehicle, and you sit back and you're all in a drenched shirt, you feel like you got 10% more power in you. If you bring a t-shirt, a brand new, nice cloth t-shirt, throw that puppy on, take the old one off, throw that in a bag or something, put that t-shirt on. Just some little things that we don't think about. At least I didn't think about. Bring paper towels, bring some toilet paper, depending on where you're going. If you're out in the boonies, make sure you bring that cooler. Make sure you get some Gatorade in there. Make sure you got some water in there. Make sure you bring some ice water. There's some things that definitely can help you that make your life that we, typically don't think of. And that's where you got to take that time. It blows my mind being in the service world, how much time things really take. When you start, I don't know if it's just because I have a lot of years of experience now or if it's just like you gotten wiser. But when you start looking at everything, the grand picture of things, right? How you have to unload the semi, or you have to load up the doors, and then you have to be physically fit, right? And you have to keep your health and your mental, everything all there. It can add up a lot. And some of you guys that obviously, what I got really blessed and lucky in a sense, but what you got to kind of watch is that when those kids start turning into those ages where they're starting to play and stuff, that's the stuff where you can't run those 14, 16-hour days. You're going to want to see those kids, do their dance or do their whatever school events, soccer games, blah, blah, blah. Right. And that's where there's kind of that vortex in the business that you got to watch. There's that balance. And there's so many things that are unpredictable. Especially I'm trying to think. We did have a little bit when I was doing the Menards doors. We had a day that was going to be quite a bit of rain. And I thought, for me, it's a little different. I don't have the service van anymore. So I kind of was like, I don't want to be out in the drenched rain. So I have to call it, right? If you're going to haul openers on top of your truck or anything, that's another thing, right? And I've had experience with this. I don't know if I ever told this story, but you got to be careful. Like I put openers together before, and I put them on top of my truck rack, and I thought I'd be a good doobie, and I decided to put plastic bags around them, right? Garbage bags, black ones, because I thought, man, it might rain. You know what I mean? It might. And I thought, I don't want the opener head getting wet. Who cares about the rail? That's fine. It can get hit with a little bit of water. It's fine. Well, come to find out, that thing turned into a parachute, and it sucked one of the openers off. I was dragging it down the highway doing, 70 miles an hour. And the second one decided to go too. Didn't have it strapped down good enough, but that turned into a parachute. So that ruined the whole evening on a 14-hour, 16-hour day. So it was like, we ended up, it was a Lowe's job. So we had to stop at Lowe's, and all my hard work went to nothing because now we had to purchase openers in a box again, and then put them together. But you can imagine now the charisma, right? The guy's motivation that's with me. That's like, really, dude? And I'm like, I know, I'm so sorry. Now I'm out like $400. This was so stupid. Probably Eric, because you're freeze. You probably got a super duper air conditioner. Got the one that's got icicles hanging off it. So never get sweaty. He says, actually work shirtless. Nice. I love it. Long sleeves and pants year round for me. Really? Holy cow. Just because you don't want to get sunburned, or that's impressive. Or does this absorb the sweat for you? What's up? Kevin's got on here. Kevin been kind of quiet. Says Liftmaster sued Genie over Aladdin. Infringed on the MyQ patent. Oh geez, here we go. Genie said their boards are separate, where phone sends signal separately relay, then sends a signal to operate door. Ooh, interesting. Thanks for sharing that, Kevin. That's good information right there. Liftmaster is one signal. Whether is it weather? It's phone or remote. Interesting. Eric says crazy. I agree. How to lose 450. Yeah, man. I tell you what, like I said, that was just something, those things you learn, you know what I mean? And like I said, I've seemed like I've been through a lot of it. I don't know if it's just because I've pushed over the years really super hard. And that's why sometimes, no complaints here. There is wonderful people that work at Affordable Door and Gate, and they've taken many years. They're great people that work there. But like I said, sometimes, if I could have took my money and invested into a laundromat, I probably would have. If I would have invested in more rentals, I probably would have. There's just some things that are little difficult. It's not that it's a bad business, right? It's good. It's just sometimes I think what's can be deceiving about a lot of this is that and this is just me personally, right? I looked at a lot of things and I kept thinking, I can fix this. I can fix this. I'm at fault. I'm doing it wrong. I can do it better. If I get the better power tools, I'll be faster. If I get the scissor lift, I'll be faster. If I get a better trailer, I'll be faster. If I get another truck, and then you start realizing, not always, not always. Like I said, it takes a hard time to find those good people, and it's very, very hard. But you realize that some people are just kind of miserable, and you could set everything up. You could literally drop the door off to the job site, and they will still find something to complain about and say, you know what, you forgot the weather seal. You know what I mean? And instead of just coming and say, hey man, really appreciate you dropping that door off and everything, but we ran into a little bit of a problem. Hey, I got it. I'm gonna run back to the shop. It's all set. Hey, have a good day. Blah blah blah. It was amazing that and then when you got, it's like you got all these walls kind of closing in sometimes, because you'll start becoming a master at something. You're like, I got this. I figured it out. I figured out the riddle. And then they start changing software, or they discontinue an opener, or they're coming out with something new. And the salesmen, right? The salespeople are really tough, right? I used to really believe in them. Like, oh, they know their product. They know their shit. You know what I mean? Like I mean, Genie guy even tell me we only have 1% returns on our stuff, warranty issues, and I'm like, really? Because I'm having a lot with LiftMaster right now. Like, I'm like, I really like that. Like 1% across the board. Yeah. You want to go get a steak? And then you find out the guy's not there anymore, and that these guys rotate. And I kind of seen it through my vendor. My vendor, when we were at some events, I'd watch him, and I could see it in his eyes that he was like, this is the same bull crap, that they play every year. And it's kind of like when you start realizing that you're like, I'm a nobody. You know what I mean? Like I can't change this. I can't, I can complain about LiftMaster. I can complain about Genie. They're not going to change it because of me. It's going to take a huge power source. You know what I mean? Like tons of people to drop out. Even one of our biggest dealers here in Michigan told when the one person through Genie said, yeah, they dropped LiftMaster because when they got away with the dry contacts, they were like, we're out. They didn't affect nothing, right? They just kept on going. They keep doing their thing. So it's just like, how do we get big as some of the stuff going on with they go woke, they go broke. How we get some of that? How we get some of that? Says, did you forget to pull the strap and say, yeah, Lift Master guy. He says, yeah, he said, that's not going anywhere. Yeah, man, that's pretty much what it was. It was so embarrassing. I actually sold one of them to my buddy for a discount. He was actually helping me out at the time. And I was like, hey, is like, you basically want a free opener? And he's like, really? I'm like, it's just got a few scratches on it. The cover's all, got road rash on it. Still worked fine. I think he's still using it to this day, but what a bummer, man. And that was like one of those things again, right? I went, I spent my time at nighttime, whatever, in the evening, just slamming this opener together to try to save us, 15, 20, 30 minutes at the job. And here it is on the side of the road. It cost me, it's just like, God darn it, man. How disappointing, and you got to show up to the customer all, how you doing? You doing good? You having a good day? And they're like, yeah, how about you? And you're like, it's like that one, was it movie Liar Liar? And you're just like, I want to tell the truth and I want to blow up, but I can't, like, it's not going so good. Your job, I didn't make $1 off of. And that job was actually another job that was too far away. It was probably about an hour and 15 minutes away, and should have done it. Had to rope somebody in to go with me. You know what I mean? They already didn't want to go. It's evening time, really. And I'm like, yeah, man, come on, let's go. We'll get this done. We'll knock it right out. I already got them built and everything. And here they're on the side of the road, dangling. Says, I got the air conditioner with a fake wood grain on the front. Oh, come on. Come on, Eric, man. Make sure you send me some pictures. I love that, man. That's my grandpa used to have one. He used to have icicles out of that thing. That thing was just sitting there, had the knobs on it, just chugging. Thing just never stopped. I was always like looking at it when I was a little kid. He had it cut into a single wide trailer. He had a roof he built over it. My grandpa he was a Mickey Mouse guy, but he had that thing. He was actually a mechanic. He's, the more I look at him now, he was a grumpy old dude, but I think he was pretty smart. You know what I mean? Like, he used to drive the old Datsun trucks. And anyway, but that air conditioner, I remember he had icicles off, and I'm always like looking at his little kid, like, I don't know if it should be like that. Like, now it's like, I'm like, I wish I could have that air conditioner. I know Genie filed a countersuit that LiftMaster lost. He says, not sure if they had patent for blinking light and weren't using, but that's when the light blinking for photocell and walkthrough went away. See, I would assume they would have been sending you guys all these bulletins on this stuff. You guys would have literature and everything. Shows how much they really love us, huh? This is what do we got? Is it Shasha Stanley? Working for a residential company for 8 years now. Service and install. Went to go out on my own. Have financial obligations. Currently making $80K a year. Nice. How realistic it is to make that much within a year or so of hard work and marketing, intelligence, etc. Says there is room for another company in my area. Have studied market, etc. Ready to talk to distributors about pricing, but scared of making the leap with family, etc. Ooh, that's a great question. I guess realistically, it's probably. I don't really have a ton of time to, and I'm going to skip. I'm going to miss some stuff on that for tonight. But it's something if you wanted to, I could help you, kind of guide you through some realistic stuff. You can always. Some of my basic best way is to email me at the daveadubsdon@gmail.com. I typically put it in the description below. And I could probably think about it a little bit more, but right now. You gotta know that the market is really. I got a bug. Come here, bug. But the market, at least in I know some of you guys are just jamming, right? You guys are slam, blah, 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 right? The market's soft, in my opinion. So you got to really watch what you're doing right now. Now, if Mr. T gets in, is it going to be a big rally? I don't know. I don't know if it's the Dems are just going to drop something on his lap like a nuke and be like, haha, here you go. You can clean this up, mofo. And and things are going to be kind of down or it's going to be a big rally, then it concerns me that we're going to see some kind of inflation. Or is it just going to be things are golden and we're going to be energy independent and things are going to start moving in the right direction? But you got to remember, it's only 4 years. Either way, I don't want to use that as a downer, but um, right now it's the lame duck year. A lot of commercial. I've noticed even with my commercial guys, there's not much building going up right now, right? And the big guys are waiting right now. They typically wait. Is it going to be a Dem? Is it going to be a Republic? So right now, yeah. And I know some other companies that are outside the garage door industry that these guys have stopped marketing, advertising that because advertising just costs so much money. They're not getting it. I'm seeing it just across the board. Um, People are slowing down with spending money. It's expensive right now for everybody, for going out to eat, food. So it might be everything's possible. It's more or less like a lot of times if you could start out where you can kind of do it after hours or on the weekends and get stuff going, that's kind of where you need to be, where you get to that point where you're just like, I'm like 3 weeks out right now. You know what I mean? Where I got so much business because everything is a learning curve. You know what I mean? You try to do stuff on Facebook, Google has gotten a lot more strict on stuff. Sometimes you want a property, they want you showing you're unlocking a vehicle that's labeled. This stuff costs a lot of money. Um, so and I've even tried just some random test the waters for the new people out there with like Facebook ads and just putting like a free service. Now, I had couple people thought it was a scam. I should have done a little more better marketing on it. But I thought I had to be I was really soft when I did it because I thought people are just going to gobble this thing up and it was going to explode. But it didn't. I was surprised. And I think I've recently taken it down just because of the workload has increased. Um, so, but it's tough. It's a lot tough when you're a young lad, when you're starting out, you can do a lot more reckless things. But when you got the whole family and you got bills, and if I was to start out right now in the door biz, I'd probably say right off the top of my head, I mean, I'd say I'd want 30K in the bank. You know what I mean? Just for payroll, for buying material coming in, material. And that's a lot of things a lot of guys don't understand about this business too is the accounts receivable or payable, the people that owe you money, some of the stuff they can sit on too, especially if you start doing more commercial. If you're doing residential, yeah, you can, but residential, sometimes you get bad checks. They make the checks out wrong. Had that happen. So always got to make sure you're checking your checks. I've been hearing a lot of credit card scams. I haven't heard it through the garage door business, but I've heard it through other businesses. People are getting scammed with credit cards. They're stolen credit cards and all kinds of weirdness. One guy I worked with sales, and he hates his job. I've seen that bug. It says just sick of people doing stupid shit. Tanner guy says the nuke is Kamala Harris. He says dumbass running. Yeah, it's. Hey, I look. I hope Mr. T makes it. I hope it rallies some people. I hope some people have woken up. I hope it. But we also have to remember there's other powers that be that are running stuff. And obviously, if I mean, I don't know, this seems almost like too good to be true. Like it seems like it'd be a landslide. But I tell you what, I guarantee you, they're going to show you on the television how they're neck and neck and this and that. Like I said, it's the media, right? Who controls the media controls the masses. But anywho, I'm gonna jump off here. But like I said, uh, is it Sasha Stan? Like I said, email me, shoot me an email. I'd love to discuss it more. Maybe make a video about it if you want. I can talk to you personally about it too. I gotta jump off though. Sorry, he says keep door talk. Not really to argue about. Everyone has their opinion, I guess. All right, guys, I gotta go. I hate to keep it short, but I gotta go. It's gonna get noisy and busy. So we'll talk to you later. Hope you guys have a good night. Good rest of the evening. We'll see you later.